Today, we're talking about David Fincher's American thriller, Seven. God, is this some kind of starting piece, huh? Sloth. From me to the world. He's mocking us. What the heck? Nobody touch anything. Detective William Somerset is about to retire. He has 7 days left on the job. A young guy named David Mills is being transferred from another city to replace him. The detectives can't find common ground. Somerset is annoyed by Mills' inexperience and temper, while Mills is angry that his partner doesn't take him seriously. When the detectives arrive at the crime scene, they are faced with a horrifying sight. An unimaginably obese man is sitting at a table, his head slumped into a bowl of food. The autopsy reveals he literally died from gluttony. At first glance, it seems like an accident, but the expert finds gun barrel marks on the victim's forehead. You can clearly see the gun barrel marks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a murder here. Someone forced the man to eat non-stop for 12 hours until he died. Somerset asks the police chief to assign the case to someone else since he's almost retired. The detective believes the killer won't stop easily, and there are more deaths to come, but the chief ignores his request. The next morning, the city is shaken by another horrific news. Famous lawyer Eli Gould has been killed. Someone drained all his true blood and wrote "greed" on the carpet with it. The killer also made Gould cut a piece of his flesh and place it on a scale. The case is assigned to Mills. Meanwhile, the expert tells Somerset that a can with plastic pieces was found in the fat man's stomach. Trying to understand what it means, he returns to the crime scene and finds marks on the floor, as if heavy furniture was moved. The plastic found in the victim's stomach was clearly scraped from the spot. The detective moves the fridge and sees the word "gluttony" written on the wall. Somerset realizes that he and Mills are looking for the same killer and heads to the library to find information on the 7 deadly sins. The maniac is clearly obsessed with ritualistic killings and will take the lives of 5 more people. Mills' wife, Tracy, wanting to meet her husband's partner and help them connect, invites Somerset to dinner. The woman shares that she hasn't settled in the new city yet and sometimes feels lonely. Thanks to Tracy, the ice between the partners melts, and right after dinner, they continue working. Somerset says the murder resembles forced repentance. Gould's wife notices that the painting in the living room, where the murder took place, is hanging upside down. The detectives immediately head to the crime scene and, after extensive research, find fingerprints on the wall behind the painting. They belong to Theodore Allen, aka Victor. So, Victor dealt drugs, committed robbery, and was jailed for attempting to rape a minor. But thanks to lawyer Eli Gould, the man was released. Somerset is sure this isn't their guy. The one who committed the crime is cunning and several steps ahead of the detectives. The SWAT team storms Victor's apartment and finds his rotting, unbearably smelly body with an amputated hand. On the wall, the maniac left the word "sloth." To the police's amazement, the man is still alive. Mills is furious that the maniac outsmarted the detectives again. He even lashes out at a nosy reporter who managed to sneak into the crime scene and take a photo. The doctor says Victor lay motionless for a year and turned into a vegetable. There's no chance he'll testify. That evening, Tracy calls Somerset and asks to meet. She needs someone to talk to, but she knows no one else in this city. The next day, when they meet, Tracy confesses that she and Mills are expecting a child. At the station, Mills is puzzled why they aren't hunting the maniac, as he's about to commit another crime. He can't be lucky forever. Somerset says the word "luck" doesn't apply to this person. He's calculated everything down to the detail, even the police entering Victor's apartment exactly a year after he tied him to the bed. He's methodical, persistent, and worst of all, patient. Somerset suggests to his partner that they head to the library. The killer clearly sought a lot of information on the deadly sins. There, he reveals a secret. For many years, the FBI has been monitoring library records and analyzing reading preferences. There are certain books, like those on nuclear weapons or fascism. Everyone who reads them is entered into a specific database by the FBI. Somerset's acquaintance from the FBI finds a visitor interested in the deadly sins for money. It turns out to be a man named John Doe. When the detectives approach the suspect's apartment, he opens fire on them and flees. Mills follows him, but Doe is quicker. He hits the detective on the head and points a gun at him, but instead of shooting, he escapes. Mills plans to search the apartment, but Somerset explains it's impossible without a warrant. However, Mills isn't ready to wait. He kicks the door open and then bribes a local homeless woman to say she called the detectives because the apartment owner seemed suspicious. At Doe's place, they find all sorts of torture devices and a bunch of developed photos. Among the pictures, Mills is shocked to see a photo taken by that nosy reporter at the crime scene and realizes Doe was right under their noses. At that moment, the phone in the maniac's apartment rings. It's Doe, expressing his admiration for the police, as he didn't expect to be found. He admits he has to change his plans and regrets having to hurt Mills, then hangs up. In Doe's photos are Gould and other victims, as well as an unknown blonde who is likely the next on the maniac's list. Receipts found in the apartment lead the police to a leather workshop, where the seller shows a photo of an item he custom-made for Doe and recently handed over to him. At this moment, colleagues inform Somerset that they've found the blonde, or rather, her body. At the crime scene in a brothel, they also find a terrified man. Shaking and sobbing, he reports that Doe forced him to tie the girl's hands and rape her using the item, which is a strap-on with a knife instead of a dildo. At night, Doe calls 911 and reports another murder. At the address he gave the dispatcher, they find a body. The victim was a very beautiful woman. The killer gave her a choice: live with a cut-off nose or end her life. She couldn't overcome her pride. Unexpectedly, John Doe voluntarily comes to the police station, wanting to surrender. It turns out he cut the skin off his fingertips, so the police found no prints in his apartment or at the crime scenes. Somerset believes John isn't done with his game. He couldn't just stop, as he needs 2 more murders to complete his masterpiece. The lawyer informs the police of the conditions under which Doe is willing to show where the other victims' bodies are hidden. He will take Mills and Somerset there. Mills doesn't want to play Doe's game and make deals. The lawyer warns that if they don't agree, John will claim insanity. But if the detectives agree to his terms, the killer will sign a full confession. Mills suggests to his partner to take the risk and finish the case. Together with Doe, they get in the car and he directs them. A helicopter follows the detectives the whole way. In the car, Doe says that to be heard, you need to hit with a sledgehammer. That's the only way to get attention. That's his work. Mills says he doesn't see anything special in his work. And the funniest thing is that in 2 months, no one will care about this work. No one will even remember. But Doe replies that the finale will exceed all expectations, and the detectives should thank him for being remembered. The detectives and John arrive at a wasteland where nothing is visible for miles except power lines. Due to the large number of wires, the helicopter can't get closer. John asks what time it is, and when he hears 7:01, he says soon. At that moment, a small van appears on the road. Somerset draws his gun and heads to the vehicle. A frightened man gets out and asks not to shoot. He's just a courier delivering a package for David Mills. The helicopter's order to call the bomb squad quickly. The courier is released. At this moment, Doe, who stayed with Mills, admits he's impressed by the detective, as he's lived a worthy life. Somerset isn't going to wait for the bomb squad. He intends to take the risk and open the package. Cutting the tape, he notices blood on the cardboard, and when he looks inside the box, he's horrified. He immediately rushes to Mills, shouting for him to drop the gun. Meanwhile, Doe continues to address Mills, saying he's impressed by his lovely wife. In the morning, he even visited her, wanting to play the role of a husband, to try living as a simple man. But it didn't work out, so he took a souvenir, her sweet little head. Somerset finally reaches Mills, who asks what was in the box. His partner urges him to drop the gun and not listen to Doe. But, overwhelmed by horror, Mills refuses to comply. He asks his partner to confirm that Doe's words are lies. Somerset insists the guy lower his weapon, as that's exactly what Doe wants. He wants Mills to shoot him. Doe continues to provoke poor Mills, informing him that Tracy was pregnant. He looks at the detective paralyzed by shock and tells him to become vengeance. Wrath. These are the sins he lacks in his collection. Somerset shouts that if Mills shoots, Doe wins. But he shoots John several times and silently walks away. Later, when he's in the police car, the captain tells Somerset he'll handle his partner, and he replies, he'll be nearby if the police need him. The film ends with Somerset's voiceover. Hemingway said the world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the last part. The film is worth your attention, even though it leaves a bitter aftertaste. The producers asked Fincher to rewrite the script to make the ending less grim, but the director kept it as it was. Leave a comment if you think he made the right choice. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.